Just to qualify, I never actually lived in Rwanda, but I've been there many times. What was really interesting over the summer was that as this process of judicial review has been taking place, we saw all these documents that were released by the government showing what advice was given to Priti Patel before she reached this deal with Rwanda to send asylum seekers there. And what was really startling was how negative a lot of the advice was. For example, the former British ambassador, the High Commissioner to Rwanda, was saying there's a danger these refugees will end up fighting in neighbouring Congo as part of Rwanda's military intervention there. There was also advice from the Foreign Office saying that this is a country that's got a track record of political killing, of torture, of arbitrary detention, and a surveillance culture. And also we had warnings from the Home Office itself saying that this upfront 120 million payment that's been made was very vulnerable to fraud. So you have this flood of negative advice saying Rwanda's not a good choice. Don't choose Rwanda, go for another country. And that was ignored by Priti Patel, who continues to insist that Rwanda is safe and this is the best option. It's safe and secure and a great place to send refugees.
But they've got a very good reputation, though, of dealing with refugees, haven't they? A big migrant community in Rwanda, and actually, when we talk to people out there, for people who are migrants in Rwanda, they've talked about what a pretty decent life they have.
It's got a good reputation taking certain very carefully defined groups of refugees. For example, a group of people who were taken there from Libya, where they were being held in extremely, really appalling circumstances. So the UNHCR expressed its gratitude to Rwanda then. But this would be a completely different thing. This would be a major sort of policy and an open-ended agreement. And there are a lot of people, and I would be one of them, saying Rwanda, of all the places in Africa, this is the worst place to choose. This is not a place that has the necessary guarantees in place, and it's got a really dodgy human rights record of its own.
Yeah, and interesting, anyone who's read your book will come away from it questioning why any British people would trust President Kagame and his regime. Why do you think we have created this relationship with Rwanda?
I think, we've been a big donor to Rwanda for many years, and there is a tendency to become besotted with the country's, economic indicators, which look very good on paper. There's a lot going on under the surface in a place like Rwanda, and a lot of those statistics don't actually bear up that well to scrutiny.
But there must be you said, well, there is a relationship between the UK and Rwanda, and there must be underlying assurances given for this sort of scheme. If there was a failure, then there'd be consequences for Rwanda, wouldn't there?
Well, one of the issues is that civil society in Rwanda is really, really weak. And, for example, there's no such thing as an independent media there. The media is very carefully censored, and a lot of people believe that the judicial process is highly politicised. So if there was to be a problem with refugees, and we've actually seen this in the past with a group of refugees that were the police opened fire on them, when they go to court, they would not get a fair hearing. And there would be, local journalists would not be able to sort of dig into any stories that happen there because local journalists, end up in jail all the time or flee the country.